Music producers, it's Curtis King at CurtisKingBeats.com, and today I am doing a reaction video to a video that's been pretty viral within the music producer community. It's a video I saw a few days ago and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was a producer sharing their tactics of how they make 10 beats a day. The producer we're talking about is a producer named Cassius J, who's produced for Migos, Party Next Door, Young Thug, and a bevy of other artists. This video went up on the Producer Grind podcast. They actually had a video up here on YouTube that's been going pretty viral in the community because he spoke about something that's been sort of a behind the scenes tactic of a lot of producers who go out and say, yo, I make 10 beats a day. I've heard these claims before and I've heard what that actually sounds like because I know a lot of these producers, but he actually made a video about it and he was hesitant about sharing his information. Enough of that. Let me play this video for you so you can actually see what I'm talking about, and then we'll come back with some of my thoughts.
And this how it's going to, man. I hate to say this because I know a lot of people finna do it. But let's say if I did a beat with Nonstop, and I say, hey, Nonstop, give me the sessions to them beats so I can add to it. Once you give me your set, your sounds, I got them now. So if that beat was made in 150 to about 148, I can adjust it where it's not gonna make a difference. The way a lot of people is making the beats, this is what I'm telling you why I'm glad I went through that with him, because I learned something watching him do it.
Yeah.
Watching Metro do it, watching a lot of people do it. I ain't gonna call a lot of people names, but if I take a hi-hat that's 150, and you know a lot of these niggas got these hi-hats that's going all that shit. A lot of people can't do that with their softwares. And then it's just a certain feeling, you can't even mimic that shit. So if I take that hi-hat, take that snare, all that shit that was under 150 and put it in there, all right, now the drum's halfway done. All I gotta do is put an 808 on it in the melody. Now, with Splice, or whatever it's called, freeroyalties.com,
yeah,
whatever, freesampleroyalties.com, you go get one melody, put that bitch on there, put it through gross beat, halftime, whatever, put reverb on it. You got a whole beat. All you gotta do is do an 808 and add 2-3 sounds, and there go your beat.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm making 10 beats a day. I'm a musician, first of all, and I'm smart.
Yeah.
So I know I can't just take your beat and put it in my shit. So I'm gonna take a melody that I don't heard off Splice. I don't want to use your shit because you ain't coming back get my ass. But I'm gonna play it and invert it, add something different because I'm a musician. Lay that bitch down. I put my own samples through gross beats or halftime, make it sound different, put reverb on it, all these other shits. And I go to beat. Shit.
There you go.
It ain't no science to it no more. This is trap music. It ain't no science to it no more.
So yeah, there's that. So okay, my first initial reactions, I have to preface this is I'm probably the dinosaur in the room right now when it comes to this style of making beats. My gut instinct says this is not the way that you make music. This is not making music. Now that's me just being sort of a selfish producer to the process. I enjoy the process of creating these melodies that obviously nothing's new under the sun, but I enjoy the process of feeling like it's something new. And I can't be naive to believe that there are producers out there who say, look, we both have the same job of just finding what sounds good. Who cares if it came from within? If I find it, put it together, I still made the decisions that made this a great beat. But my initial reactions when I listen to this is like I cringe because I'm like, man, people don't want to make music no more. Like we just piecing things together so that we can make 10 beats a day. Now, this mass production style of quantity versus quality is something that is really for producers who are in the industry already, who are competing for these slots on albums and for projects. Like this producer's been on the Migos Culture 1 and 2, and there's a lot of producers who are competing for that spot. If you have more product to show these artists that you're trying to get placements for, you increase your chances of actually getting a placement on that project. So it makes sense. There's a mass production, there's a race. You're racing against Metro Boomin, you're racing against, Sonny Digital, whoever else is popping, you're racing against them to get on this project. So having more product enables that enables a better chance of you getting on that album. This is why I think there's that need for certain people to do 10 beats a day and try to get as many done. Like there's no trophy for it, but this is the reason why I believe that a lot of industry producers do it. The issue is producers like you and I, okay? This is where me and you are going to relate on this. Producers like you and I are playing for fairness, and producers like my man's right here, Cassius J, they're playing for results. They're producing for a result. Now, when we're sitting here making a beat, we're thinking about, all the in our mind, the laws of being a musician or the morals that we set here for what makes a legitimate producer. You don't feel like a legitimate producer swiping these sounds off these websites and then trying to put that within your beat and let that be in the dominant melody. Like, I don't feel there's no creativity within that for me, but that's me. I cannot talk down upon somebody else like him or the people he talked about who do it, because they're not producing for the same reason. They're producing for a result. Their result is, I want to make massive amounts of beats. I want to get it done as fast as possible. I want to make it sound dope, but I need to get more done. I need quantity over this quality aspect. I don't need it to have as much musicality as this next producer may require. I'm just trying to get this done, get these hits, get these plaques. That seems to be the focus, so it makes more sense for what they are doing. My next point is, you personally, just because you see this and he talks about it, doesn't mean you have to make 10 beats a day. Why are you making 10 beats a day? I'm not talking to Cassius Jim, I'm talking to you. Why do you need to make 10 beats a day? Is there some kind of like check that's gonna come in the mail when you do 10 beats a day? I understand wanting to grind, but at the same time, if you don't have a necessity, and this is why I always tell producers, understand why you're doing everything you're doing. If you're going to copy somebody else, you better understand the reason why they are doing it, or try to figure it out for them first, and then see how it applies to where you are in your career. If you don't have a need to make 10 beats a day, this probably shouldn't even apply. But for those of you that are like coming up and maybe you're in your first or second or third year, I can see how this can be appealing, because you're probably very impatient with the process. Even though you've put in some time, you're still impatient. The thing about it is, do you even need to make 10 beats a day? My next point, no producer is perfect. No matter how famous they are, no matter how great their final product sounds, many of these beats that you listen to go through many different hands before they go to your ears at the final destination of the listener. Many of these beats go through engineers who tailor the sounds around, and they take things out, they dip things, put them through filters, and they make these beats sound like something else than when they started off, right? So what you have to understand is that these producers that you look up to are not perfect. In a lot of ways, they cut shortcuts. They know shortcuts because of what has worked for them. And their reason for producing is a lot different than your reason. If your reason is, I want to be the best producer alive, I want to, by these standards that I have created, you're going to have a different journey that you're going to that destination. These producers are not heading to that same destination. That being said, this is why they do what they do. Another thing that he shared that kind of rose the eyebrow was this whole aspect of you sharing your stems with other producers. I know that a lot of producers, sell beat collabs, right? Where you basically start a beat and then they'll finish a beat, they'll attach their brand to it. However, what you gotta realize is that when you share your sounds with someone, you are giving them your sounds. And he just told you straight up, if you're doing techniques as a producer that a producer like this cannot do, he's about to take those snare rolls, he's about to take those hi-hats, chop them up. Now it becomes part of the new sounds that he's going to use for another beat that has nothing to do with this collaboration, and you willingly gave it to him. A lot of producers are so desperate to share their music and get it to somebody else and get it to be heard. I understand, but at the same time, you're so desperate to do it, these things are going to happen to you. So when you hear your melody altered and switched in a different way, you got to understand you're partly to blame for that. And lastly, music producers, one more point that I want to make that is related to this video is that at the end of the day, you should make more music and less comparisons. When you're looking at a video like this that says how to make 10 beats every day, and Cassius J is giving you he really just gave you the truth of how he makes 10 beats a day, that does not necessarily have to apply to you. You got to stop comparing your journey to these folks. Now, if your reasoning for making beats is the same as his, say you only want to get placements, and I'm not saying I know his reasoning, but from what he's saying, that to compete in this business, you have to produce at massive amounts. If you want to produce at massive amounts and be competitive within the traditional music industry, music business, and get your name as a producer, maybe this is something that you utilize. However, if you love the process of making beats, if you love composition, if you love putting these things together, if you actually see yourself as a beat maker and a producer, you may do things slightly different. Now, in this situation, whether you like it or not, even though he's putting these different sounds from different, splice in these different places, he is more of a producer than someone who is a beat maker. Someone who is a beat maker can put these things together, right? Give it to him. He'll take certain things out, bring a live musician here, take something from Splice and put it here, and literally compose and produce this song. So what he's doing is actually production. It doesn't feel like it because of the emotional attachment we have to what does it mean to be a producer? What does it mean to be a musician? And he told you he's a musician. He knows how to invert certain melodies so that it becomes his own. And I think a lot of us are lying and kidding ourselves when it comes to the process. Look, at the end of the day, you got to do what makes you feel good. Because if music makes you feel good, nobody can tell you any different about your process. Me personally, I couldn't do something like this. I have no need to make 10 beats a day. And that's why I wouldn't want to do something like this. For me, it's like I enjoy the process of taking a beat and meticulously going through 10 minutes worth of snares, just trying to figure out which one to fit, which one to give it a different swing. I love messing with the swing, messing with the timing. I love doing transitions. I love the process. I treat a song like an album. And I love that process. It may take longer, but it makes me happy. And it does well for my business. But you got to understand the why you're doing what you're doing. And you got to also understand why you're comparing yourself to individuals like this. I know that they're successful. I know what he's doing is amazing in this industry. But if your goal is not his goal, ask yourself, why are you following? That's my reaction to this video. Would love to hear your thoughts below. If you enjoyed this reaction video, please leave a comment below. I want you to punch like that, like a fighting Irish. I want you to punch that particular like button and let's start up a conversation. Let's start up a dialogue. Once again, this is Curtis King at CurtisKingBeats.com. Peace. Please subscribe to the channel below, Curtis King at CurtisKingBeats.com.